and this has to do with sanctions.
It has to do with sanctions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sanctions that you guys have put on Russia. Am I correct in thinking that if the situation doesn't improve, there will be more sanctions, but if it does improve, there possibly won't be. However, the existing sanctions that were put in place because of the Crimea annexation won't be taken away. Is that correct?
We're not obviously going to into our specific sanction strategy publicly. I think that's probably not advisable for the people on the sanctions list or who might be sanctioned. In general, what we've said is we put sanctions on place in response to specific activities and actions by the Russian government. The potential for those to come off would only happen after the Russian government undertook certain steps to rectify the situation, and that we have more in place ready to go if they don't de-escalate, and indeed, of course, if they take further steps.
Maybe I can rephrase it to get it.
You want me to outline when we're going to put more sanctions on?
I'm trying to
when
find
we'll
out
take them
if, in fact, the sanctions that were imposed immediately after the annexation of Crimea will stay in place as long as the Russians stay in Crimea.
I'm happy to check and see if there's more detail we can share.
To get rid of those, and do you...
We generally don't outline what people need to do specifically to get rid of sanctions publicly.
That may be one reason why you never get what you're looking for from these people, because you don't tell them what they have to do, so they're left to guess.
We've privately been very clear. It just doesn't make sense to outline that publicly.
Well,
Why?
Because giving the world insight into your sanction strategy, part of how sanctions are imposed and how they're effective is if people don't know they're coming and don't know when they'll come off.
well,
You think about how... That's why we don't make sanctions public or the names public before we impose them.
Yeah, but they have to know...
And we don't tell people when they're going to come off necessarily.
Well, but you have to
Or
tell
what
them
they
what
need
they...
to... Right. We have those conversations privately, just not publicly.
Okay, but
Right.
is it not incorrect that the sanctions that were imposed for Crimea, for the Crimea annexation...
I don't have more
will
specifics for
remain
you.
in place as long as Crimea
I'm happy
is
to check if we can say yes or no to that one way or the other, Matt. I'm happy to check on that. Yeah.